Thank you all for being here. We will call this hearing of the Finance and Governance Committee to order. Again, thank you all for being here with us. This is our second and final public hearing on this year's capital improvements budget. The purpose of today's hearing is to hear presentations from our external organizations set to receive capital grants in the city's capital improvement budget and capital improvements program. I just want to point out that these are organizations that the mayor's office has presented to us in his proposed budget. And so we're doing something a little different this year and hearing directly from our external agencies on the wonderful projects that they have proposed. I think a lot of times us as council members and the administration, we get to see these proposals and they're great. But it's also, I think, important that our community also gets to hear about the great work that our partner agencies are doing and hear about the projects that their taxpayer dollars are going to be invested in. Additionally, after these presentations, I will also highlight the amendments that council plans to make to the budget this coming Monday. Following the presentations and council amendment highlights, we will open the floor to speakers who have signed up to speak, and we'll do our best to address questions asked via YouTube and Facebook live streams. If there are any resident questions that were not addressed during an organization's presentation, I will ask those during the public testimony portion of the hearing to make sure that we get those answers. My staff is currently monitoring those comment sections. So again, if you have questions that you're watching live, go ahead and pop those in there and we will make sure that we get those answered for you. Before we start with our external partners, I want to thank my partner in good, Councilmember Otto Beatty, who is here with us. Councilmember, any opening remarks from you before we get started?
No, I just look forward to hearing the presentations, and it's always a good reminder to all of us of all the good work that you all do and the investments that we're making. The City of Columbus, we do a lot of things well, but you all are the experts that are making these investments in the human services area for the benefit of our citizens. So I look forward to the presentations.
Thank you, Councilmember Beatty. I know some other colleagues will be joining us throughout the hearing as well. And just to underscore what you said, this is all about partnership. The organizations that you'll hear from today really represent the best of us. And when we talk about the work of the city, it's not just us as the City of Columbus, but it is all the partners that are in this room. When we talk about our human service agencies in particular, I've said this before, it is not an amenity of a big city to have human services. It's a necessity. And as we continue to grow, we know that the issues and the impact and the work continues to grow as well. And so with the constraints that we see coming out of the state and federal government, as well, we even say budget constraints for us here at the city, from an operating standpoint, I think it's imperative to us to use tools that we have, such as our capital budget, to also make those necessary investments in our nonprofit partners in that sector so that they can continue to do their great work. So with that, first up, we have Mr. Bruce Harkey, the president and CEO of the Franklin Park Conservatory and Botanical Gardens, is here with us, and that he will be followed by Tony Cunningham and Elizabeth Martinez to talk about their project. So you ladies are on deck. Bruce, thanks for being here.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Councilmember Bankston, Councilmember Beatty. Thank you so much for this opportunity to speak to you. The conservatory has enjoyed a long partnership with the City of Columbus dating back to 1993 when we were established as a joint recreation district by the state of Ohio. And it's an equal partnership between the City of Columbus, the Conservatory's Board of Trustees, and Franklin County. Today I'd like to share with you some of the projects that we will be using the funds from the city's capital bill to support, but also wanted to share a little bit about the impact of those investments that the city has made over the years. For the different capital campaigns we've completed that have brought to life 10 different major capital projects, including the Scotts Miracle-Gro Foundation Children's Garden, the Wells Barn, and other amenities. Every dollar of public support has been matched 2 to 1 by the private sector. So I think that that partnership that has worked so well in our city continues to help us flourish. This, of course, is the John F. Wolfe Palm House lit by the James Turrell lighting installation. For those of you who are not familiar, this is one of 6 glass houses dating back to the Victorian era left in the entire country. So it's really special that we have this amenity here in Central Ohio. As I mentioned, the capital investments have really been transformational for the conservatory and for our community, allowing us to not only grow our financial resources, but also give back to the community, as you mentioned, Councilmember Bankston, critical needs and human services, and we play a role in that in terms of community outreach and education and access. With the investments that have taken place, over $45 million worth of capital investments since I started in 2007, you can see how much our revenue has grown, overall revenue. Not only has our revenue grown from $4 million when I started to $16 million, but our earned revenue has increased from 49% to about 70%. So really ensuring that as we make these capital investments, we're able to grow our financial strength. That's really important to ensure that the conservatory can continue giving back to the community. This is a great chart that shows the impact that has had on the conservatory for access programs. We have a number of different access programs, including Community Days, the first Sunday of every month, Library Pass program. Prior to the opening of the Children's Garden, only 3% of our attendance was free and reduced. As of last year, we are now at 21%. So one of almost every 4 tickets sold at the conservatory is serving folks in our community through programs like Museums for All. So we're very proud of that. This is a new plan that is being supported by the city's investment in the conservatory. This is the new North Star Master Plan that we announced in May, and this is a 25-year vision that builds off the success of the previous capital campaigns to transform the conservatory and Franklin Park to be ready for the next generation, for the million of new residents who will come here. We want to make sure that we remain one of the most premier botanical gardens in the country, and in this environment to have a place where folks from all over the community can come and really have the benefits of being in nature is so critically important. One of the projects I'd like to highlight in the middle of the screen is a new visitor center. So we are working with Columbus Recreation and Parks. We're going to move the entrance to Franklin Park to Woodland Avenue, where there's a traffic light and a bus stop, but we're going to build a new 35,000 square foot visitor center in the future through this master plan that will be between the public park and the conservatory. This facility will include a restaurant, a gift shop, an event space, but most importantly will be accessible to visitors of the park and of the conservatory. So if folks are walking in the park and need to use a restroom or use a locker, they'll have access to that. All the ticketing will be after this space. We have lots of major projects, including new spaces that are going to be built for the Chihuly collection, a new butterfly biome, and most importantly, as a horticulturalist, I'm very proud that this campaign, which is all about gardens, it's called Gardens Forward. We're going to build 6 acres of new gardens, or for the Buckeyes, 4 football fields of new gardens that will be living classrooms to help celebrate the importance of nature. I'll finish by showing the first project in this suite of projects as part of the North Star Master Plan, the John F. Wolfe Palm House and the Dorothy M. Davis Show House, of course, built again in 1895. And we have a responsibility to preserve the heart and soul of this organization and of this community by restoring this project. The restoration will include removal of all of the current glass with a focus on environmental sustainability, all new glass that goes back to the Victorian era, curved gray tinted glass that'll be great for plants and great for people. The entire infrastructure will be restored, and the Wolfe Terrace will become a really beautiful immersive garden with water features. We're very excited to kick off this project, and we appreciate the support of capital from the City of Columbus. I think this is going to be transformative, not only in terms of the structure, but the conservatory will introduce a whole new plant collection from around the world of palms to really celebrate the diversity and increase our commitment to conservation and environmental sustainability. Just some images, a sneak peek of what's going to happen inside. The entire inside will be completely restored, 1,000% improvement in ventilation, which is really important if you've been in the Palm House during the summer, and the whole new plant collection, and then a new bridge that will go from east to west and connect the show house to the Wolfe Terrace for accessibility and ensuring that we have a wonderful guest experience. So I am happy to answer any questions, but again, I'm very thankful on behalf of the Conservatory's board and staff of this investment that you're making in our community's future.
Thank you for that, Bruce, and really excited about that. I think it was fascinating to point out, as we have continued to make capital investments as a community and as a city, the access has also increased for some of our residents who would not necessarily be able to afford it. And so that's really what I'm excited about when we look at this type of investment. Just to reiterate that, you know, what you're saying, for every dollar that we have invested, that there's a match from the private sector. Could you talk a little bit more about that for me?
The Conservatory has completed 2 capital campaigns, so raising funds to support major capital expansions, and oftentimes the City of Columbus capital dollars are used to support those new projects, but also really critical deferred maintenance. You can't just continue building things, you have to continue investing in the facilities. The first capital campaign for Master Plan 1.0 was $21 million. The second one was also $21 million. And of that, let's say $6 million came from the public sector. The balance was matched 2 to 1 by the private sector. And I can tell you, in having conversations with private donors, with corporations, with individuals and foundations, the City of Columbus and other public entities supporting these big plans for the future are very powerful in leveraging additional dollars. So we really appreciate your initial investment because it really does kickstart the capital campaigns in a very positive way.
Yeah, thank you for that. And I just asked that question to highlight for our residents and folks who may be viewing, in that we're not the only ones going in. And a lot of these projects that you're going to hear today, it's not the city wholly funding them, right? But there are private philanthropy dollars that are coming beside that to leverage the money that we are investing. So I just always want to point that out for folks that oftentimes we're not the only source that's in there, and so that's great. We also just want to recognize we've been joined by my colleague, Councilmember Remy, so thank you. Any questions for Bruce from Councilmember Beatty or Councilmember Remy? All right. Thank you, Bruce. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
And next up, we have Ms. Toni Cunningham, the President and CEO of the Godman Guild Association, along with Elizabeth Martinez, the President and CEO of Big Brothers Big Sisters Central Ohio. And then on deck, we have our friends over at the Buckeye Ranch. The floor is yours, ladies.
Awesome. Good afternoon to our distinguished council members, Councilmember Bankston, Councilmember Beatty, Councilmember Remy. I'm going to stick to my script because I am the granddaughter of a Baptist preacher, and I know how it can be, so I have some talking points to guide me because we're sharing this time. So, again, my name is Toni Cunningham. I am the President and CEO of the Godman Guild Association, and we're here today to introduce and advocate for our joint ask with Big Brothers Big Sisters of Central Ohio for capital investment in our shared headquarters in the Brewery District. These resources are critical in supporting the infrastructure needs for this collaboration focused on transformational impact. We believe that collaboration is the future of community transformation, but more specifically, we believe in a strategy that supports families across generations. Our integrated 2-generation approach, we call it the 2-gen approach, we have, with our integrated approach, we have one focus, which is to ignite pathways and build futures. At Godman Guild, we ignite pathways to success through education, empowerment, and inspiration, and we've been doing that for over 127 years. And we've supported families through adult education, youth enrichment, and career development. We know that when parents thrive, children rise with them. And when youth are empowered, families grow stronger. That's the foundation of our 2-gen model. Big Brothers Big Sisters of Central Ohio has done the same through a different lens, mentoring young people and unlocking their fullest potential. Our partnership now brings those 2 models together, synchronizing mentorship and workforce development in powerful ways. In this shared co-headquarters, we will build an ecosystem where Godman Guild's Ignite You, which is our youth programming, delivers structured enrichment for youth, Big Brothers Big Sisters one-to-one mentoring strengthens individual guidance. Our young adult workforce programs align seamlessly with their Big Futures program. And our Work Readiness Academy opens doors for parents and other adult family members. Together, this holistic strategy works. Families receiving our dual generation services see up to a 43% increase in income. Youth supported by both mentorship and family services improve academic outcomes by up to 68%. And our programs generate a 3.2 times return on investment, helping the public as much as our clients. This isn't just service delivery. We're multiplying, and this is a multiplier effect in its momentum. We're not just addressing needs, we're unlocking potential for every generation. And now, I'm going to hand it over to my partner to share how the power of place and our new location makes this strategy come to life.
Good afternoon, Councilmember Bangston, Councilmember Ramey, and Councilmember Beatty. We're extremely excited to be here. I think as my friend, colleague, and partner, Tony, shared the vision of our organizations coming together, what we want to just convey to the community and to council members is the reality that we are building a powerful model. We believe that it's deeply grounded in purpose. Our new headquarters at 555 Front Street is more than just a shared space for us. It's a hub where access, innovation, and urgent community needs intersect. It will be located in the Brewery District, and our new headquarters will be easily accessible by public transit, which we know that removes a major barriers for families coming from neighborhoods across the city, especially those coming from underserved communities. By rooting ourselves in this district in particular, we're also actively advancing the city's vision for inclusive growth and equitable revitalization. We're not just human service providers, we're architects shaping a more integrated, opportunity-rich Columbus. Our new space is built on partnership. Every inch has been designed to foster collaboration and amplify our collective impact. At its core, it is the program impact space that will become the cornerstone of member engagement, creating an inviting and accessible environment tailored to the needs of our members. We will have an integrated intake and coordinated services approach to ensure a seamless experience, helping families not only navigate support with confidence, but also with ease. And the thoughtfully designed layout encourages close collaboration amongst our teams, strengthening our overall impact. This organizational alignment is transformational, but it also reflects our belief that collaboration isn't optional, it's essential. And that's why our shared infrastructure, not only does it bring people and purpose together, but it also helps us reduce operational cost, increasing efficiency, and enables us to direct more resources into the services for our community. From this space, we will build on the strengths of whole families to create lasting transformation. We'll have an opportunity to scale our Big Brothers Big Sisters High School Big Futures program, amplifying young people's talents, aspirations, and potential. We will have an opportunity to expand experiential learning through our Camp Odeokwa and Camp Mary Orton, fostering personal growth, intellectual curiosity, and the development of leadership skills in an immersive, supportive environment for young people. And most importantly, we'll bring together entire families in one trusted space, honoring their resilience and wisdom while aligning services that empower parents and children to thrive side by side. This is how we unlock generational opportunity, by investing in the assets families already have and bringing those strengths to the forefront as we empower them and advance them into their future. The city's capital investment is a vital brick in the foundation of this model's success, and it reinforces a powerful message to our community that the city is deeply committed to collective impact, to partnership, and building a future where all of our families thrive. We thank you again for the opportunity and welcome any questions.
Thank you for that, and I think a lot of my questions were answered in it. You probably saw me smile a little bit when you said Camp Odeokwa, because that's where I went to band camp for many years at East High School. So, but I just want to say, just a comment, really, just commend the two of you. This is a model. When we talk about, we talk about this right now as we're going through this FRAC process. The growing pains of our city is not just on governments or businesses, it is also on our nonprofits. So finding ways to streamline, to be more efficient, to come together and co-locate and collaborate where it makes sense is truly a model. So I just want to thank you all for having the foresight to go in this together and understanding that the services that you have are really, again, across a generation. But I think it's truly a model for some of our other nonprofit partners to really be looking at co-locating. One question I do have is with that co-location, and clearly there's a lot of collaboration on the programmatic side, will this also enable you all to look at shared services on the back office, to help with efficiencies and streamlining as well?
The short answer to that is yes. There'll be plenty of opportunities to do that. We're currently in this first phase of the work. We will be sharing and aligning on some resource support initially, but part of our long-term vision, Councilmember Bankston, is that we have an opportunity for us to look at our strategic plans anchored to each other so that we're intentional about making sure that that stays central in our focus as we move forward.
That's great. Councilmember Beatty, Councilmember Remy, any questions? Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
And next we have Abby Menley, and if I mispronounced that, please correct me, the Director of Development for the Buckeye Ranch, and Sarah Book, the Vice President of Residential Services for the Buckeye Ranch, followed by the Columbus Historical Society.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Happy Friday, everybody. My name is Sarah Book. I am the Vice President of Residential Services at the Buckeye Ranch, proudly. First, a thank you for your continued leadership and commitment to the well-being of Columbus residents. We appreciate your support and the opportunity to speak today. We are here today to respectfully request $500,000 in capital support to help close the final funding gap for Ohio's first psychiatric residential treatment facility, or PRTF, which is currently under construction. Why does this matter? Ohio is in the middle of a youth mental health crisis, frankly. 5 Ohioans die by suicide every day. 1 youth is lost every 34 hours. Ohio ranks 29th nationally for youth with major depressive disorder. In 2023 alone, our partners at Nationwide Children's Hospital supported 7,515 youth experiencing psychiatric crisis. And we believe this is a powerful indicator of the overwhelming need for specialized care. Unfortunately, awareness is not enough. Our youth need access to specialized and high-quality treatment. The PRTF is a state-of-the-art facility designed to serve youth transitioning from inpatient psychiatric care back to their homes and communities. The facility fills a critical gap in our behavioral health continuum, and it is a unique collaboration between the Buckeye Ranch, and we've been 60-plus years in the game of serving youth with mental health expertise, and Nationwide Children's Hospital, who I know you know as a national leader in pediatric care.
Thanks, Sarah. Hi, Councilmember Beatty, Councilmember Bankston, and Councilmember Remy. I'm Abby Manley. I'm the Director of Development for the Buckeye Ranch. And I want to talk a little bit about the community investment that the PRTF will have holistically. So the Buckeye Ranch serves over 7,000 youth and families annually, most of which are from Columbus. Of our 600 plus staff, nearly half of them live in Columbus. And so this facility is going to strengthen not only the well-being of our youth who need this emergent care, but also is going to strengthen the workforce and the economy, right? We see that families are, we have parents who are taken out of their jobs because they need to care for their children who are going through mental health crises. And then also we're building a community of people who are going to become adults and have the resources that they need to be able to be successful members of our community. The total project cost is $35 million, and we're proud to share that we've already raised $29 million of that. So that's 83% of our funding that has been secured. We have a $6 million gap, and this $500,000 that we are requesting would be a huge, would be a hugely powerful statement to youth mental health and help us get over that gap. So we are excited to open in the fall of 2025 and offer this unique resource in Ohio. Before this, we saw that we had children who needed this resource who were exiting the state, and so this is keeping those kids close to home here in Central Ohio to have the resources that they need. So thank you so much. If you have any questions, we would love to answer them.
Thank you both, and I think it goes without saying that mental health we're experiencing a crisis all across our country, but in particular with our youth coming out of the pandemic. So this is critical for our region, and not just for the residents of Columbus, but for our entire region. So I just wanted to say thank you for the work you all are doing. Any questions from my colleagues? All right, seeing none, thank you.
Thank you so much.
And next, we will have, excuse me, I know I said the organization, but Doug Tracy is here with us from the Columbus Historic Society. Doug, welcome,
Hi, thank you.
and the floor is yours.
Yeah, I even brought a timer so I can stay within the time frame here. So, my name is Doug Tracy. I am a board member of the Columbus Historical Society. We are a passionate and determined all-volunteer board focused on preserving and sharing the rich history of our city. Our growing membership now numbers about 300, and I'm here to talk about our Engine House number 6 project on West Broad Street, its progress to date, and our vision for its future as our permanent home, our first permanent home. But before I say anything else, I want to be sure to thank everyone in the community for their most generous support of this project. It's been simply amazing and endlessly appreciated. This is to remind everyone of our location. This is a view of the 500 blocks, plural, of West Broad Street in the heart of Franklinton, which is the core of the city's beginnings. To the right with the tower is the Engine House, and that's at 540 West Broad. To the left is our Harrison House Museum, and in case you're wondering, the empty block in between the two areas is a planned multi-level apartment complex. Engine House number 6 was built in 1992 during the horse-drawn era, and most notably, it's where this city's very first emergency squad was formed. Actually, it's the first one in the country. We also own the Harrison House, thanks to board member Fran Ryan's efforts in 1972 to save it from demolition, as well as the Lucas Sullivan map room building in the rear of the Harrison House, which you can't see in this picture. But we promote tours, host meetings, present speakers, and conduct educational programs at the Harrison House. It's important to note that Columbus is the largest city in the country without a permanent home for the city's historical treasures, but we plan to change that. Excuse me. Our vision is that the Engine House will be a dynamic facility with constantly rotating exhibits, a major community asset, and the centerpiece for the preservation and sharing of our city's history. The Engine House will include rooms for archival storage, special events, a research library, exhibits, offices, and importantly, a large space for community gatherings. And this is an early rendering of what the Engine House will look like when it's finished. Our partners in this project are Columbus-based architect Schooley Caldwell and contractor Miles McClellan, both of whom have extensive experience in restoration of historic properties. Schooley Caldwell projects include in the past include the Museum of Art, the Palace Theater, and the Columbus Main Library. And Miles McClellan projects include the Columbus Firefighters Union Hall, which is right across the street from the Engine House, the part of the Franklin Park Conservatory, and the Columbus Zoo. As far as some very high-level round numbers, to give you some perspective of the fiscal scope of this project, the vacant Engine House 6 property was acquired by the Society in 2021 for $700,000, funded by a mix of donations and grants. The current estimate is that it will take approximately $2.5 to $3.5 million to complete the entire project. And to date, we have invested approximately $900,000 in renovations over and above the original purchase price of the building. We've completed a number of things to date, and construction continues. Among the work completed so far is we have a new roof, major external repairs, HVAC system installation. We have the security system and the electrical and plumbing installed. But most importantly, we have 2 back rooms and the first floor bathroom. All of those are finished, and that's going to be real important very soon, and I'll talk about that in a second. And just a few photos here to give you a glimpse of, there we are, just to give you a glimpse of what we've accomplished so far. This is the large back room looking west. It's one of the 2 finished first floor rooms that we expect to open to visitors very soon. This is another view of the large back room looking the other direction. That's looking east. And this is the first floor reception area and the bathroom behind it, which is the second of the 2 rooms that have been completed and we hope to have open soon. This is the completed main entry door and the paver entry on the Mill Street side. And we've also installed sidewalk and some exterior features, which you can see in this picture. And the last of the pictures, just so you get a sense of the unfinished parts of the engine house. This is the unfinished front room on the first floor where fire engines were once parked. It's next on our list for renovation and will serve as the main exhibit area and event space. This is the front room. The major milestone for us, and we're really excited about this, is the opening of the 2 back rooms. They're both finished, and the best news about this is that this will allow us to conduct small group tours and fundraising events in these rooms. And we are most anxious to begin showing the community and the public what we have accomplished so far, as well as what work remains. And next up, we'll do some work to button up the interior, finish the front doors and the patio on Broad Street and the front room on the first floor, and begin work on the second floor. And I think my time is just about up here. So I'll close by saying that we're always eager to show off what we've accomplished so far and talk about our vision for the future. We'd be happy to make arrangements to show anyone who's interested through the building and see what we've done. You can contact us anytime. We'd be happy to do that. And again, I want to thank everybody in the community for their support. It's been simply amazing. And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Yes, thank you for your presentation. When do you anticipate that the building would be open and ready for members of the public to go through?
I would have to be honest and say it's a somewhat soft date. We are expected to be out of our current location on Town Street. Mount Carmel Hospital Systems has given us space there in an old doctor's office, and we are due to be out of there midsummer of 2026, and by then we expect to begin moving into the building. And we know that the building will not be 100% finished at that point, and renovation will be continuing while we have the first part of the building open to the public and begin exhibiting. So it's kind of a mix of both things. Yeah, I hope that answers that question.
It does, but ultimately, this is going to be, would this be public-facing building or appointment only, or will there be hours that someone can just walk in off the street and see things? I couldn't tell by what you were.
We haven't locked that down yet.
Okay.
We know it's going to be a permanent home, and we expect it to be a community facility, and we want it to be open many days of the week, of course. And that's our mission. That'll involve staffing and making those kinds of arrangements. And we've been totally focused at this stage of doing the fundraising and getting the building done, the renovation finished, so we can begin doing that. But that's our intent. That's definitely our intent, to be open probably 5 days a week if we can, or at least long weekends.
Okay, at this point, do any of my colleagues have any additional questions?
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Sorry I was a little late. It's good to see you again.
Nice to see you again.
I was just going to say, I think, one thing that we have heard loud and clear from the community, and I think also, I often talk about being a Columbus kid who was born and raised here, and as I think about even how much Columbus has changed from as I've grown up here, right? First of all, this building is beautiful. It's incredibly impressive. I think this was a grassroots effort that really started by a group of folks who said that we wanted to be able to tell the Columbus story and preserve our history. And then by happenstance, we also had this incredible building that now we could really, could become the home of our history. And so, especially as we talk about Zone In and how we're building and the buildings that we can preserve. And for some of them, we know that we don't always have great landlords or folks who have taken care to really preserve those treasures that are in the community. And so it certainly struck me as I went through the building that this really was just such a gem that we needed to preserve. And I think it's the best example of kind of combining, a true grassroots effort with our history and making it a place that is open to everyone. And there's many other opportunities that your organization has done, creating books, creating other opportunities so that our kids can learn and understand Columbus history. It's funny, I tell this joke to my husband who grew up in Massachusetts that I learned Ohio history. And I was like, you never learned Massachusetts history? And he said, yes, that's U.S. history. Can all chuckle at his dad joke. But I do think it's important for us to carve out these spaces and to ensure that, I know this is something that Councilmember Dorns is working on within Zone In, is really historic preservation. So I just wanted to call that out because I applaud the efforts and think that this is something that we as a council have been grappling with and talking about. How do we preserve that history, not just the living history, but also the places that hold so much of who we are, and that can tell that story as we move into the future that we're seeing all around us every day.
I should have had you do this presentation. I really appreciate that. Because that's absolutely true. We are truly a grassroots organization, but we're evolving into an organization that's going to handle a multi-million-dollar building and a major feature of Columbus, and especially Franklinton, because that's where it all happened. That's where it all started way back when. So I appreciate that. Thanks.
Councilman Remy, you have any questions? Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next, we will have Summers Hamill, the Interim Director of Development for Dress for Success, along with Hillary Sivers, the Board Chair for Dress for Success. And next on deck, we will have Keisha Garrett, Chief Operating Officer for the Columbus Urban League.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, thank you for having us today. Councilmember Beatty, Councilmember Barraza de Padilla, and Councilmember Remy. We appreciate you having us here. And by way of introduction, my name is Hillary Sievers. I serve as our board chair for Dress for Success Columbus, and I'm joined here, as you mentioned, by Summers Himmel, who is our interim director of development. And we're here today for a few reasons. Number one, to kind of double down on the work that DRESS is doing, but more importantly, to talk about the investment that you're making in our organization as we step forward into a very important capital campaign for the organization as well. So I'd like to start out with impact, and Summers is going to walk us through some of that, and then we'll talk a little bit about the investment. So we control the slides? Yeah?
Thank you. Good afternoon. So when a woman steps through the doors at Dress for Success Columbus, the trajectory of her life changes. And it's not just her life, but it's her family's life. It's the trajectory of our community. You may know our work as, providing professional suiting for those who are taking the next step in their careers. And that is a lot of what we do. But we also do so much more. We provide mentoring, we provide success coaching, we provide resume development services, we provide financial education, we do one-on-one interview prep, and we connect women to meaningful employment opportunities. I also want to mention that we are a proud affiliate of Dress for Success worldwide. Of 134 affiliates across 20 countries, we are ranked as a top 10 affiliate. This reflects the size and depth of our programs, our outstanding staff, and our commitment to fueling our vision through philanthropy. I also want to tell you a brief story to help paint the picture of what I was just describing and how it can have an impact on the lives of Columbus residents. Recently, one of our clients was able to connect with our mission through the Mobile Career Center. This, like it sounds, is our mission on wheels. We meet people where they are to provide the services that they need to advance their careers and the trajectory of their families' lives. This was actually a program that was funded through the City of Columbus and the Elevate All grant-making program. This was a mother of 10 who had recently decided that she needed to re-enter the workforce. And in my opinion, she had already made the hardest decision, which was deciding to go back to work, deciding to take the next step to get what she needs in order to do that. But she was not feeling her best. When she came to the Mobile Career Center, her entire outlook changed. She found, yes, an outfit that she feels confident in, but her demeanor changed. And we offered to connect her to all of those other services that will help her secure meaningful employment. But it's not just about that employment, it's about opportunity. This is a summary of some of our impact. And last year we served around 1,500 unique clients across 96 zip codes in Central Ohio. We are an organization for all women, and we know that we disproportionately serve those who stand to benefit from our programs the most. 79% of our clients last year were single parents, and 74% live at or below the poverty line. We also work to partner with other organizations in the community. Over 100 community partners support our work. We try to find efficiencies and make sure that we're connecting people to the entire network of services that are provided from our colleagues in the back of the room today. For example, we partner with Goodwill when someone needs men's clothing or prefers that, or when they can stand to benefit from Goodwill's many other services. What we know today is that demand for our programs is increasing. There are a host of ways we know this, but a few of those snapshots. One is a 13% increase in our Mobile Career Center usage just last year, and that is mirrored across many of our other programs. Additionally, the number and age range of participants who are utilizing our programs is expanding. We now serve women from 14 to 70 plus years old. And we know that the limiting factors in being able to serve this demand are our current space and our current team's capacity. So because of that, I'm going to turn it over to Hillary to talk a little bit about what the future of Dress for Success looks like.
Yeah, so the future, right? The future of Dress for Success. What does this look like? So as you heard Summers point out here, we have completely outgrown our space. If you've been in the boutique, you know that. And here are some ways in which we've outgrown that space specifically. For one, we have limited appointment capacity. With 3 fitting rooms, we can only serve a few clients at a time. We also have insufficient space for our staff and our clients. You know, our growing staff really right now shares office space, and some are even tucked into side rooms, trying to make an office out of that. So doing the best with what we can. There's really no dedicated space right now for our volunteers. So they're right out there live with all of the women that we're serving, even if they're trying to step away for a quick break. We have no dedicated space for programming or collaboration if we're trying to hold meetings outside of what's being done in the space for suiting. And then also, all of our programs are hosted off-site. We currently have no space to host our programs within our building. Our storage and logistics are incredibly challenging. Our inventory currently is housed off-site. While it is close, it does pose a lot of challenges for us being able to access and transport that inventory. So there's incredible logistical hurdles, makes it difficult to accept and sort those donations. And then in terms of parking and accessibility, not to mention safety concerns that come with that, our parking is not ADA compliant, and some volunteers, clients, and also our staff just feel incredibly unsafe at times by that. We also have limited hours that we can operate simply because of that. So, we need a new space. It really is simple as that. We need a new space to be able to scale what we're doing. And the city has generously stepped up to lead as an investor in the next phase of our work. So to better serve our community, as Mayor Ginther has said, Columbus is America's opportunity city, back to your point, right? And we want to amplify that. We're fortunate to have identified a fabulous space. Talking about potentially, if you've seen the current space, we would absolutely love to walk you through the new space. We've identified where we will call Dress for Success home moving forward. It's in the Warehouse District. We have actually signed a contract with Hackman Capital, and so we're looking forward to beginning our new phase of operations in this space. It's actually centrally located. It suits our needs. We've identified construction and design firms that will partner with us to turn the space into really exactly what our clients need. So as a result of this move, we certainly anticipate that we will see a significant increase in our programming reach over the next 3 years as a result of the expansion. Looking at how the space is specifically going to better support the needs, first of all, better supporting the Central Ohio community by providing resources that build a skilled workplace. I think it's important to double down on that. This isn't just women who are coming to feel better in the clothes that they're wearing and, being provided with something appropriate to go for their interview. It is so much more. That is the entry point for the women that we serve. From there, it is, giving them access to workforce development. We're helping focus in on preventing homelessness, allowing these families to thrive and enabling them with economic independence. So, we're here to meet the growing demand for our service that we're currently seeing and unable to meet. So we recognize the operational efficiencies that we have and that are possible in this new space. In fact, a feasibility study that we conducted with Millard Consulting in 2024, so very recently, affirmed our path forward. We are now looking at, the ability to raise the funds for this vision, including the city's generous investment. Thank you for that. We have 2 lead gift commitments of $500,000 or more, and we're in conversations with many others and are poised to execute this successfully. So let me talk a little bit about our board here really quick. Our board of directors intentionally is committed to this campaign and has affirmed their willingness to provide the financial resources, the expertise, the connections, and the oversight to ensure its success. Our campaign total is $4 million, including $2.2 million for construction and $1.8 million for program expansion, capacity building, project expenses, and increased operating costs over the next 3 years. So your $750,000 investment, which represents 16% of our goal, is going to support renovation and relocation costs to this space, including the renovation and the build-out, which is estimated at $40 per square foot. Architectural walls, furniture, AV equipment, and other technology to ensure that we can, equip our clients and become digitally equipped to enter into this new era of how they are able to expand in their careers. Program expansion, including the ability to serve more women through our styling programs, our mobile career center, interview preparation, and one-on-one coaching, as well as financial education, in which we partner with some other organizations on, and on-site in our building, which is such a huge benefit to all involved. The details of all of this can be found in the budget. And finally, I want to say a very, very sincere thank you from our board and from the staff at Dress, all of our volunteers for partnering with us. I know that none of you are strangers to Dress, and we appreciate your support. Thank you.
Thank you. Do any of my colleagues have questions or comments?
Come on, Councilmember, you know I do. First of all, I want to say thank you again, or congratulations on Dine, Drink, Dress. Last night was your big fundraiser. It was an amazing event, as always. You talked a little bit about the mobile career center. Do you think with the expansion of the space, does that program continue to run? Is there an opportunity to expand that, to maybe have a second unit or just even more partners? And can you just talk a little bit about the mobile unit?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So the short answer is yes. Definitely opportunities for expansion, and we're working on exactly what the specifics of that will look like, whether it's a new vehicle or whether it's just expanding our routes and partners. Something that we're in the sort of the early stages of a partnership, and we've already started rolling it out and piloting it, is a partnership with Columbus City Schools. So making sure we can reach young people who are entering the workforce and setting them up for success from the start. So that's an example of how the Mobile Career Center travels there, and this move will enable, and this investment will enable us to expand those services, absolutely.
And I know that there's budding partnerships even with like some of our colleges, and I have a high school senior who's looking at colleges now, and I actually was thought it was interesting in some of the colleges she's visited where they've had like a closet for students or that sort of thing. With the proximity to Columbus State, is there opportunities there? Is that something? I don't want to put you all out there on things that you may not be able to share, but is that something that you're also exploring?
We definitely can, because those are already in place and advancing. So partnerships with Columbus State, Columbus College of Art and Design, and many others that are strategically located in the warehouse district. It's also great that it's on public transit. I think Hillary mentioned that. So it's really accessible for everyone, and we're closer to a lot of other community partners and agencies that you all invest in, so we can find even more synergies between our offerings.
Great. I just want to, I've been a long time friend and supporter of Dress for Success way before I came onto council. I have worked for many years with an organization called ELLA, Empowering Latina Leaders Academy, who has been a partner and recipient of a lot of the services. And we've also been able to get expose a lot of Latinas to the opportunities at Dress for Success. And I just wanted to commend the team on just your nimbleness and ability to grow, because I think it's really about both the whole woman, right? Like thinking about not just how she looks and how she feels, but ensuring that she has the skills to move forward, but that she also has a community. I think watching one of the videos last night, I think one of the clients said it best, is that she found a sisterhood, right? She found a place that she could land where there were other women who were experiencing the things that she was experiencing, and this was a place. And we often see that with Dress for Success when we would bring in women to get fitted. A lot of the volunteers were people who they had received services, or they came in and they were so inspired by the Dress for Success mission that then, they've even come onto staff, or they've even done other things. And I just think it's just such a testament to your commitment and being a true community builder. I think women are dope in any program that invests in women, because an investment in women is an investment in community and an investment in all of us. And so we are the center of so many things. And I think ensuring that women see a path for themselves and have the tools that they need to be successful, and a community behind them that continues to invest in them. So I am excited to see what is next for Dress for Success. I also want to put in a plug for the Fab Sale, because I think it's not just about ensuring that people look good, but it's also when we talk about things like sustainability, when we talk about, there's so many points that the organization hits on that are just so much more than just investing in women. It really is about investing in community. It's about investing in, the environment. It's about investing in so many things. So again, I just want to commend you. Excited to come see the space sometime soon. And thank you for all the work that you continue to do to invest in our community.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
All right.
Thanks
Thank you
so
so
much.
much.
Thank you so much. Next, we will have Keisha Garrett, the Chief Operating Officer of the Columbus Urban League.
Good afternoon. Thank you to Council Members Beatty, Barossa, Padilla, Bankston, and Remy, and the entire council for allowing me to be here today. Today, I'm excited to share a bold vision for the city of Columbus, one that aims to close the wealth gap through entrepreneurship, workforce development, and financial empowerment. This comprehensive approach will create new pathways to prosperity for all residents, ensuring that everyone has the opportunity to thrive. By investing in small businesses, upskilling our workforce, and providing financial education, we can empower individuals and families to build lasting wealth and economic security. At the Columbus Urban League, our mission is to be a trusted, community-driven force, creating opportunity and access for all people through economic, educational, and social progress. How do we do this? We do this three ways. We do this through workforce development for both youth and adults. We do this through entrepreneurship for businesses that are starting out and for businesses who are looking to grow and thrive. And we also do this work by financial empowerment. That includes credit counseling, home buyers education, and now includes investing. Really quickly, the reason why we submitted the request to the city is because we have a lot of work that we're doing here at the Columbus Urban League. Last year, we served 1,600 adults in our workforce program. That included 300 of those adults receiving credentialing and license, and it included $12 million reinvested back into the economy. Our youth program, we served 600 youth last year with $1.3 million in wages earned for those youth, and 60 of those youth received certifications and licenses as well. Our entrepreneurship program has served 8,000 individuals. That program has seen success in new contracts and financing of $6.9 million, 4.7 in new sales, and 373 individuals we assisted in being certified in MBE and DBE certifications. Our entrepreneurship program also serves 18 additional counties. In that program, the expansion of that program through the Department of Development, we saw 49 Accelerate Her entrepreneurs served. And Accelerate Her is a program that is focused on women-owned businesses and helping them to grow and thrive, with 700 hours of coaching and 1,000 individuals served through the Minority Business Center. All right, the reason we're here today is we have a $2 million capital project with the support of the city. That $500,000 will allow us to get started immediately. This new project for us is a project that will transform our physical and technology infrastructure to drive economic growth and opportunity for all residents in Columbus. This $2 million investment will create flexible technology, enabled spaces that foster collaboration, learning, and business development. This commitment ensures that we can start immediately. Also, the new spaces are designed to be adaptable and responsive to evolving needs of our community. We recently launched a trades program. That program allows for just 20 individuals to ensure capacity and learning availability, and we have 400 people on that waiting list right now due to some of the space challenges that we're having at the Urban League. The Small Business Resource Center, which is part of this $2 million contract, will provide state-of-the-art opportunities. It provides access to modern meeting spaces, technology-enabled learning environments. It fosters collaboration and accelerates business growth. It helps us to expand contract opportunities with direct connections to key city, state, and county partners. It provides comprehensive business education, which allows workshops in securing government contracts, advancing growth strategies, marketing innovations, and critical compliance. It also allows sustained strategic support, personalized mentorship, ongoing support and guidance, ensuring tailored long-term support beyond just the startup phase, but also through the growth phase as well. Our Workforce Innovation Lab is integrated technology and AI is the focus of this lab, where we'll train in AI careers, advanced manufacturing, healthcare tech, and skills trade, also offering certifications, providing industry-recognized credentialing through key partnerships, provides hands-on training, real-world experience, enhances job readiness for comprehensive support, resumes, interviewing, coaching, and placements, and it facilitates employer partnerships that align directly with regional and local hiring needs. And lastly, economic and community impact for us. This expands our entrepreneurial ecosystem, ensuring that small business owners, especially those historically excluded from economic opportunities, have equitable access to business resources, contract opportunities, and financial education. It will help us to reduce and underemployed individuals, equipping individuals with the certifications for training, job placement support needed to secure sustainable high-wage careers. It's going to assist us in developing skilled workplace pipelines, creating talent directly aligned with Columbus's fastest-growing industries. And it positions Columbus as a leader in this nonprofit space, allowing us to create a national model for economic mobility with workforce equity, ensuring all residents have access to pathways and financial independence. Thank you for the opportunity to be here and for your investment in this city. Your support is critical as we embark on this transformative journey. Thank you very much. Do you have any questions at all?
Yes, I do.
Yes, sir.
You have 2 buildings on Mount Vernon Avenue, so would these changes be through both buildings or in a third space? Or I saw the Empowerment Center on one of the pictures or slides, but is it through both buildings or just one?
Yes, sir. So the construction plan is the small changes in the Empowerment Center. But most of these changes will be happening in the Urban League building. It's the main building. That building is nearly 40 years old. We recently put a roof on that building, new air conditioning on that building, and so as you know, over time, those things change, and then the needs of the community change, right? And so where we were offering certain services and the space was efficient for those things, as we grow our partnerships and our services, we've just outgrown the space.
Yes, modernization and maintenance,
Absolutely.
right? Okay, yes. All right. Thank you. Any other colleagues have questions?
I have 2 questions. One, can you talk a little bit more about the trades program? You talked about 20 individuals being in the program. Would this allow for the opportunity to expand that?
It actually will. Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
can you talk a little more?
So the new program is Franklin County Trades Academy. That program, just because for the learning to be robust, it was important for us to make the classes just 20 people, a smaller allotment of individuals. That is a partnership through Franklin County and through Columbus State. And so what we're looking to do is have additional classes that are running concurrently so that we can get those people off of the waiting list and allow us to serve more individuals in that cohort as well. Also during the day, we do job fairs. We have digital equity classes happening at the same time, as well as a skills training and sustainability. And so with so many programs happening at the same time, our ability to cut some of the spaces in half in order to build additional classrooms and training is the best way we thought we can continue to serve a greater number of individuals in our community.
No, and I appreciate that. I mean, right now, I think the number is something like 75% of folks in unions right now are almost or nearing retirement age.
Absolutely.
And so as I think about, a union is a pathway into the middle class, especially for people of color. And so, we know that not every kid is built to go directly to college or they can't afford it or they're not going to go. And so to have something that they know that they can, there are some trades folks that make more than people in this room. And so my 18-year-old nephew is on the path to do that today. So when I think about the opportunities, if we can continue to expand those programs, and I think along those same lines, can you talk a little bit more about those opportunities in tech? Because I think as we think about, I tell my daughter this all the time. There's careers we don't even know exist yet, right? By the time she graduates from college in 4 years, the world is going to be a different place, right? So can you talk a little bit about the expansion of those programs and what that looks like? I know you hit on it a little bit here, but I think it would be worthwhile to understand that just a little bit more.
Sure. One of the things that we're doing in our program is that we are activating AI into the programming as well. So there is some of that VR programming that'll be helping where we're training our young people in that programming, as well as our students are learning how to do podcasts. They're learning how to kind of operate in that space as well. And then we have the technology classes happening right now, so individuals have the opportunity to understand chips and things like that, so that they are prepared for that space. And so we're not just doing it with our adults, we're also doing that with our young people as well through our various programs at the Columbus Urban League so that we can prepare them for the next level prior to them getting out of high school and trying to figure it out then. We're starting out with those tech fields as well. So AI and some Googling, some Google credentialing right now is happening with our students.
And I think the Empowerment Center is such a gem in that area. And when I think about the work that y'all are doing, expanding it and especially expanding opportunities at this moment for our young people and continuing to stay true to ensuring that we're investing in Black and Brown communities because, we can ban words, we can ban ideas, we can't ban the truth. And so knowing that we are still a long ways to access an opportunity and that is continues to be a truth for our communities is important. And, staying true to that commitment to ensure that our community stays accessible for all and that every young person, every family has an opportunity, has access to that opportunity is important as we continue to grow, that we're not leaving folks behind. So thank you for your presentation today, and thank you for the work that the Urban League continues to do in our community.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilmember Beatty, for stepping in for a little bit there, and thank you, Ms. Garrett. Everyone here knows that I am biased. I'm an urban leaguer for life, and so really excited about this particular project and the work that the Urban League is doing. They've been a great partner on so many of our initiatives around small business, particularly Urban Business Connection in partnership with the Columbus Chamber of Commerce. And so thank you again for being here. Also, just wanted to make sure, take a point of privilege in this moment to also say congratulations to Madam President Hightower. She was recognized last week at the National Urban League Conference for her leadership, and your Columbus Urban League continues to be in the top 3% of urban leagues across this country. So very proud of the work that you all are doing. So thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you.
That's my little point of privilege. I'm a young professional still. That's what they tell me. I don't feel it in my body, but that's okay. Next, we have Madison Macy, the Director of Marketing and Development for St. Stephen's Community House. I'm going to welcome her, and then on deck we have our good friends at Junior Achievement of Central Ohio. Madison, welcome.
Hello. Well, before we get started with our introductions, I first just want to thank all of our council members, our community that's tuning in, for really taking the time today to learn about our Strengthening Foundations capital campaign. So by the end of this presentation, my hope is that you understand the legacy and impact of St. Stephen's, our need for the capital campaign, and how these renovations will better serve our community of Linden and Central Ohio as a whole. Before we continue, though, I would like to introduce myself and my colleague here. So I am Madison Massey. I am the Director of Marketing and Development at St. Stephen's Community House. Been with the organization for a little over 6 years now.
And I'm Trevor Balser. I'm the Director of Finance at St. Stephen's. I've been with St. Stephen's for about 4 years.
All right. Before we get into the plans of our capital campaign, I did just really want to make it clear just how many people are impacted by the programming at St. Stephen's. We've been around for over 100 years, and as the neighborhood has changed, we have really been able to be flexible and shift our needs to what the community needs. We live our mission of strengthening families and empowering our community through our 5 core service areas. And if I were to list all of these programs and give you details, that would take way more than our total allotted time. But I think you can see here that from our early learning center all the way through our senior program, any barrier or any crisis that a community might be facing or any support that a family might need, we have a program that can address it and also work closely with partners that we can refer to. So through all of this programming, we are able to serve over 41,000 individuals a year. And that means that over 41,000 people in Central Ohio have benefited from St. Stephen's in one way or another. So when you're investing in St. Stephen's, you're investing in those 41,000 individuals that get support from our services.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about St. Stephen's history. Here's a photo from the groundbreaking ceremony for our current facility, circa 1982. But our history goes back much further than the 80s. We were founded as a settlement house on the south side of Columbus in 1919. We moved to a small temporary building on Cleveland Avenue in 1965. And then we moved into our current facility in the early 1980s. Our current building, which has 63,000 square feet, includes the Mid-Ohio Market, our food pantry, classrooms for our summer STEM camp and other youth and family programs throughout the year, a spacious gym, a child care center, and spaces for events and rentals. And a key point is that we have really made no major upgrades or renovations to the building in the past 43 years. So for the last few years, as a result of that, we've been dealing with leaks in the ceiling, inconsistent heating and cooling, and aging, dilapidated furniture and fixtures. In 2023, after many Band-Aid repairs, we realized that we needed to undergo a full building assessment as the preliminary step to a capital campaign. So the results of the building assessment were pretty much as we had expected. Total replacement of 24 rooftop HVAC units. Most of the roof needed to be replaced, and a few areas needed repairs, a cost of $1.2 million. And interior and exterior renovations costing $4.8 million, bringing the total cost of the project to $7 million.
So to bring this vision to life, a lot of us do not have a lot of experience in construction, believe it or not. So we did bring in Triad Architects to help us bring our vision to life. And one thing you'll hear me say over and over throughout these next few slides is the word welcoming, because we know that people coming to St. Stephen's might be in crisis, they might be facing a stressful situation, and the environment you're in really does make an impact. So the next few slides will provide a vision for our vision. You'll find that we're not adding on to our building or making any unnecessary flashy upgrades. We're just simply refreshing the space that we have and the space that we've been good stewards of for over 40 years. So these next few slides will be some before and afters, and thanks to our partnership with Triad. The first, and I apologize for the low quality photo, but this will be the entrance of our building. We are wanting it to be more permanent looking, so the community knows that we're here to stay, easier to spot, and then you'll see we've got some additional seating and greenery outside, so people have a space to relax while waiting for a ride, if they're taking a break between receiving a program or grabbing a snack from our market, just making that, again, much more welcoming. Next, our lobby, which is the first thing you see when you walk in the building. We really wanted to make sure that we opened the lobby up, made it brighter, but also increased our safety and security. So as you can see, there's direct access down our main hallway. and then a couple other areas where we would like to make sure the building is secure, but we're also able to add another level of comfort and security when people walk through. We also have a lot of different programs going on at any given time, and we don't have a great way of guiding people around, so we're also going to add some intentional wall signage for bathrooms and the various spaces that we have to make that a little bit easier for people to navigate. And I think this image really shows that just with some new floors, new paint on the walls, and just a quick refresh, it looks like a completely different space while being basically the same space. As a community house, we obviously have a lot of community spaces. This right here is our Carter room and our senior dining room. We can host up to 300 people when these two rooms are combined together. And already in the current state it's in, we are hosting repasts, we are hosting baby showers. We had a wedding there a couple weeks ago. So having a space that is fresh, bright, welcoming, we know that we'll also be able to create more revenue from this, as this is already a revenue stream for us as it is. Additionally, this is our senior dining room where our seniors have their lunch program, so adding some soft seating and some areas for them that make it a little bit more comfortable for all the time that they spend here. This space will also have updated technology so that we can have a projector, speakers, and actually host our own events at St. Stephen's, which will then save us money in the long run with rentals and those types of things as well. It is also no secret that in the nonprofit field, there is lots of burnout and that it can be a high turnover. We're very lucky that at St. Stephen's, we've been able to maintain a 90% retention rate with our staff over the last few years. But we know that with how stressful the jobs are, it is really important that they can relax and also collaborate in a space that is more welcoming, as I said, refreshing and bright. So these are some of the staff areas that we want to make sure. Right now we just have a conference room and then our staff lounge, which you can see on the top left there. There is not really any place that larger teams can collaborate or meet casually throughout the day. And so we're really excited to bring this to the community, but also our staff that works so hard every single day. And lastly, we support learners of all ages at St. Stephen's. So you'll see our Early Learning Center here. We are going to be upgrading that, adding more intentional furniture, and also updating based on all the things we know now about how students learn best and how the environment works with that. So we are being very intentional about the Early Learning Center space, and then our multi-purpose classrooms, which are on the right. These host our summer camp students, these host our parenting classes. A variety of different learners enter these spaces. So we also want furniture that is flexible and versatile depending on who's in the room and making sure that they can be as comfortable as possible. And with that, I'll hand it over to Trevor.
So since launching this campaign in May of 2024, we've raised close to $5 million in contributions from some of the generous donors you see on the screen. And really, everyone who tours the building can easily see the urgent need for this renovation and the tremendous impact that it would have on our community. So where are we in the construction process? To date, all 24 HVAC units on the roof have been replaced, and we're installing an enhanced control system. It's not on the slide, but we also have installed a new upgraded security system. We will begin work on the roof later this year using funds from Congresswoman Beatty's community project funding. And we have a schematic design in place for the interior renovation done by Triad Architects. And then what's next? Thanks to a generous grant from Nationwide Insurance, renovation of the gym will begin in August and will hopefully be completed this fall. Our goal is to have all funds raised by December of 2026, but we'll continue completing projects as we receive funds. And we'll try to time construction projects to ensure minimal disruption to both staff and programs.
So before we open it up to any questions, I again just want to thank you all so much for taking the time to learn about our project today. This renovation will create a dignified, comfortable environment and will allow the agency to continue our mission and serving our community for many years to come. So thank you so much.
Well, Thank you both, and I think, as you know, this body and city is very familiar with St. Stephen's. They've been a tremendous partner in the Linden community. We've been in those spaces many, many times for area commission meetings, when we were doing the One Linden plan. That's actually where we unveiled it. And so it is a critical space, and so I'm excited to see the comprehensive work that you all are doing. I know there's been different spaces that have been refreshed or piecemeal together, if you will, but having that comprehensive plan in place, I think, is really going to be great to continue to serve the community, and to your point, in a very, very much dignified way. You know, our settlement houses, I truly believe, are on the front lines. There are 5 of them, place-based work, but also serve the entire community. And so when folks are going there, it is a place of community, it's a place of connection, but sometimes folks are there on their worst day. And so we want to make sure that when folks are getting those services, that it's no different than if they were to walk into some other setting. And so thank you for all thinking of that and being thoughtful about that as you continue to deliver those services. Any questions from my colleagues? Councilmember?
No, I was just going to say, Councilmember, I mean, settlement houses were our first community centers, right? And they were open as a place of belonging and rooted and centered in community, and ensuring that immigrants, folks who were economically disadvantaged, could find a place that they could find holistic services, that they could find community. And that spirit has never left our community, our settlement houses, as they've really grown to be modern day community centers. And I think St. Stephen's is a perfect example of that. You know, I work for City Year. We have had a long-standing relationship with St. Stephen's Community House in the past, and worked there for many years, and can see the impact. And I think, to the point that Councilmember Bangston was just making, I think sometimes when we think about things like a roof, it is not always the sexy things, certainly not as homeowners, not as people who go to centers, but it is the necessary work to ensure that we can keep our work, but also changing that environment so that there is dignity. I believe that in every community, there is love and there's joy and there's pride, no matter what it looks like, right? But I think when we take the care and intentionality as we're welcoming folks into our spaces, that it really shows the love, the dignity, and the pride and the joy that we have. It is game-changing, not just for the folks who work there. So I love the fact that you're also investing in the folks who work at St. Stephen's, because they are pouring so much into the community every day, but ensuring as folks go in, I also think it's a super smart decision, especially now, to have programs that generate revenue back into the organization. So having those spaces that you can rent out that are top of the line, especially, I think with a growing community, I mean, we've seen some of those spaces. If you're having a celebration, a birthday party, wedding, whatever, the prices have gone astronomical. And so for spaces to be beautiful, but affordable still, but then still brings back revenue that you can put it back into your programming, is just so smart with all of the climate, especially that we're in right now. So I think this has been, this is actually one of my favorite meetings, right? Because these are all the partners who are doing good work in the community. And for us to have an opportunity to partner in some of that good that you're doing is an honor and a privilege for us. So I just want to say thank you for all the things that you do for the community. Thank you for this very thoughtful, intentional plan. I can't wait to see what it's going to look like for the finished product. So
Yeah, thank you all so much. Yeah,
Thank you, guys.
thanks.
And next we have Mike Davis, president of Junior Achievement Central Ohio, is here with us. And then on deck we have Lower Lights Health Center. Mike, good to see you. Welcome.
Thank you, Councilmember Bangston and Barossa de Padilla and Councilmember Beatty. We're grateful to you. I'd like to start by saying how impressed I am by everybody who's been up here today. And the fact that you as council members and your staff have done the legwork to find such important things to invest in. And it's interesting how aligned and supportive they are. Some are kids, some are adults, some are just the spectrum and integration that you've identified is very impressive. So before we get into us, thank you. We're grateful to you. At Junior Achievement, we really focus on accelerating economic opportunity and mobility So how do we help people understand and achieve their objectives in life and kind of manage their lives and careers? So part of that's the mindset they need to be successful, the skill sets that they need, and the financial literacy and the understanding of how things work. So there are numbers. Ipsos, which is a global research firm, did some research on alumni of junior achievement. And 34% of adults in the United States that are between 18 and 29 years old live independently from their parents, 34%. But 68% of anyone who's had junior achievement in their lives live independently from their parents, double the number. And we need to make sure they have that capacity. When you look at middle school students, 91% of students in middle school who said they didn't understand budgeting after Finance Park, our program, said they're confident in their ability to manage their resources. We have all kinds of data, and numbers are important. Last year, we engaged over 50,000 students in the 25-county region that we have. We engaged more than 12,800 Columbus City school students in this work. And the numbers are great, but our team was talking to a counselor the other day, and the counselor said, we've had more young people in the school that was relatively economically challenged in our city say they want to be pharmacists. And so the counselor asked the counselor, what happened? And the counselor said, we talked to the 3 or 4 that said that, and they said, we went to BizTown, and there's a Cardinal Pharmacy, and we thought, that's a pretty cool job. And that's 7 years later in their school career. And the fact that the investment that we're grateful to the city for considering and supporting us is allowing us to build out both elementary, middle, and high school programs to provide that progression. And so as we look at this, we have a $10 million campaign. So to talk about the leveraging dollars that you've talked about previously, the $500,000 is, matched more than tenfold by that broader community support. We have before and after pictures where we weren't able to do Finance Park, that middle school program, and some of our high school program because we didn't have the capacity. We didn't have the facility structure. And as our friends have said, it took $1.2 million to redo the air conditioning and heating system to keep it warm so we didn't have 4 seasons every day in the building, depending on what room you walked into. The security piece, which unfortunately in our culture these days, we've had to completely redo the security systems on how people get into the building, how things flow. If something unimaginable, well, unfortunately it is imaginable, but if something negative happens, how do we shut down the building? And we have to make those investments to protect the students and the volunteers. And so we have, like I said, more than 50,000 student engagements, but we also have about 4,000 volunteers a year that work with us. So it's how do we inspire and prepare them in something that's compelling and energizing and makes them be curious and go explore how they're going to manage their lives and careers. So we're incredibly grateful. Back to the before and after pictures, before kind of how the scenario is and afterwards. At this point, this slide, things are progressing quickly. Now we're about $8 million towards the $10 million campaign, and we've had a lot of support, and we're grateful to the city for the consideration of this request. So I'd love to answer any questions.
Yeah, thank you, Mike, and excited about this project. I know I've had a chance to see the before and after, honestly, and it's quite amazing. And if folks are not familiar with Junior Achievement, I would encourage you to go take a tour of the space and see what these kids are doing, real life exercises, and it's just amazing to see. And so, and at a very, very early age, one of the things that I have said a lot of times is that our young folks have to be exposed to not just jobs, but careers and industries. And we have to do that much, much earlier than high school, right? When we're asking an 11th grader or a 12th grader what they want to be in life, we have dropped the ball. We have to start that much earlier and get their brains imagining what is possible. And so really excited about this. Can you talk a little bit about this particular project? I know that Junior Achievement serves much more than just the Columbus region, and just the city of Columbus, but the region. But can you talk about how many children in Columbus you all are impacting each year?
Yeah, so within just Columbus City Schools, it's more than 13,000. In the county, it's more than 33,000 student engagements. Some of them with districts and city lines in which districts are actually within the city. We have thousands in Southwest City and virtually all the school districts in the region. We're very fortunate to be in Italian Village in a building that's owned by Columbus City Schools, and it is the lighthouse facility. As we travel through the whole region, we hear people say, in Columbus, you have BizTown and you have Finance Park, and that's where our kids have learned how life really works. And the lighthouse facility, as we refer to it as, is in need of repair. And part of the work we've already done, and the next phase that this financial support's going to allow us to do, is upgrade and expand and make more secure that lighthouse facility that is in Columbus that supports the entire region. We have kids coming from Canton, we have kids coming from near Cincinnati, we have them coming all over the region to Columbus, to that building. And so they're both dazzled by the city, they're curious about the city, and then when they get in and work with those specific businesses, because we have more than 30 businesses in the space where kids aren't just thinking about it's an industry, they're working for those businesses. And they're finding out, to your point, council member, do they like it? Or did they think they loved it and now they want to look for something else? Because it's as important to understand what you find out that you don't want to do as in what you want to do. And to your point, we give them those experiences in elementary and middle and high school. So they're fine-tuning with sophistication by the time they get to high school, instead of opening the blank tablet and say, what do we do? And that's something that we're really passionate about.
Yeah, and one other thing I will point out, Mike, that I'm impressed with Junior Achievement is the partnership of employers that are right here in the city. I think as we continue to grow, we have to ensure that all this prosperity, all of this growth, all these opportunities that are coming here, that our young folks see a pathway to get to that it's not out of reach, that's not for me, right? We're not simply building a city of the growth of the residents that are coming tomorrow. We have to ensure that second and third generation Columbus kid today sees themselves in the prosperity of our city. And so that was one thing that, especially in the financial center that you guys have built out, that was very impressive to me. Councilmember?
I was just going to say, I think also one of the biggest disservices that I think that we do to kids is to not talk to them about money, or talk to them about money in the negative sense, right? Like I was a kid who, culturally, we didn't talk about money. That's not what you did because you were a child, right? But I did hear when there were many problems or when things were tight. And so, I think that we don't do enough to help our young people understand money management, understand economics, understand money in a positive sense and what that looks like, right? And so I think that's one of the things that Junior Achievement does. You talked about those life skills, and I think that that's one of the most important that, we hear those stories all the time about a kid goes onto a college campus and gets a credit card because it's so easy to get that credit, and then they don't know how to manage it, right? And so that's critical. And then the other thing, I think, to thread the needle when we talk about regionally why that's important, those kids who are living in Canton and Akron, the likelihood that they are going to come to Columbus is high. That is actually our workforce, because that's what the data is telling us today, right? That folks are coming from other parts of or from other parts of Ohio, they're coming to Columbus. And if they don't stay in Columbus, then they're leaving the state, right? So we are the destination many times because of OSU or the other neighborhood universities, or because of the prosperity that the city brings. And so I think, to Councilmember Bankston's point, it's not just about investing in the Columbus kids, the second or third generation. It's also investing in those Canton, Akron, Dayton kids who will then come to Columbus and be part of this workforce and call this home. And so giving them that ability to have that exposure is key. And I think, one thing that we know to be true is that we talked about this when we talk about preservation. I was in Columbus City Schools many years ago, and the weather was different. June in my classroom at school was a different environment than June today. The world is getting hotter, and so these buildings just were not equipped for how things have changed. And so again, I think making those investments, I think when we see a program investment, it feels good because it's like we know that this is, but we don't think about that environment. Not having 4 seasons, you can't learn in an environment where you're too cold, you're too hot, you're uncomfortable, right? Your brain just can't focus. And so these are investments. This is just as important as a programmatic investment that we would make. This is a programmatic investment, right? So I think threading the needle of telling that story, it's always so much more, and it's so layered in terms of where those dollars go and the impact that you have. And we know for kids, we are planting, it's like planting an oak tree for a middle schooler or an elementary school kid, right? It's the thing that they remember, once they're well past, once they are in that college course or someplace else, they're remembering those seeds that you planted. So again, thank you for your work, and thank you for the intentionality behind this particular investment.
You're very welcome.
I echo my colleagues' comments, and also wanted to point out, I've really enjoyed, just coming up from a young person as well, I've really enjoyed your Business Hall of Fame program that you have, particularly that the diversity of businessmen and businesswomen that you have honored, people of color and otherwise. Some of my heroes and sheroes have been honored, and I think that's very special as well. They talk about you can't be what you can't see. And so not only the things that we do in the center, but also that Hall of Fame program I think is excellent as well, because many of those, I can see sometimes in the interaction in the room, many of those folks, some of the other people don't know because they've not seen them in Business First or covered in the Dispatch, and then they hear this person's accomplishments and the impacts that they make in the community through their business, and they're just amazed. So thank you for, shedding the light on so many people.
Well, we're incredibly grateful. My last 2 quick points will be, kids understand the lifestyle they want. They don't know what they need to know to get the jobs they need to get the money they need to get that lifestyle. And that's really the integration, as the 3 of you have referenced, and as the businesses are trying to engage with younger and younger people because they realize they can't sit back and just wait for resumes anymore. The world has changed. And so they're really engaging with us as we hold the space for educators and businesses and parents and public sector to integrate to say, how can we do this together? And there again, we're incredibly grateful to you, our business partners, our education partners, and our community partners. So thank you very much. We're grateful to you.
Thank you, Mike. And last but certainly not least, we have with us Ms. Kay Wilson, the Director of Marketing and Development for Lower Lights Health, who is here with us. And Kay wears so many hats in our community, so I didn't know which one she was dealing with today.
Good afternoon, and thank you, council members. Thank you, Councilmember Bankston, Councilmember Beatty, Councilmember Barosa de Padilla. Thank you so much. I did have a slide, and I guess maybe the privilege of being last. I will not bore you with all this and try to get through this quickly, but I did want to share with you really some stories first. I want to start out with giving you an idea of what this project is going to do for the community. So first, thank you for the opportunity to speak and for including Lower Lights in this year's proposed capital budget. We are a faith-rooted, federally qualified health center serving more than 17,000 patients annually across 7 locations, 5 of them in Columbus and some of our most vulnerable neighborhoods like Franklinton, Linden, and the Hilltop. But even as our borders touch the suburban neighborhoods, we still have patients who are uninsured, underinsured, or living in deep poverty. Our mission is to provide whole person care that honors the dignity of every individual that we serve, and that mission goes far beyond medical treatment. It's about restoring lives, stabilizing families, and strengthening the very foundation of our city, our people. I want to share 2 stories that may show what's at stake here. Several months ago, an elderly woman who's a retired hairdresser, we'll just call her Miss Jean, came to Lower Lights with dangerously high blood pressure. She lived alone, navigating chronic illness, food insecurity, and isolation. Through our team-based care, including community health worker, a dietitian, and a spiritual care coordinator, Miss Jean not only got her blood pressure under control, but she found community. Her care team helped her enroll in SNAP, access transportation, and receive ongoing support. She told us for the first time in years she did not feel like she was forgotten. But our work doesn't just touch individuals. It supports the heartbeat of Columbus, our small business community. A local bakery owner, Carla from the Hilltop, was on the verge of closing her doors. Her 19-year-old son, who was uninsured and working full-time at the shop, had collapsed from an untreated heart condition. Medical bills mounted, and Carla was facing the impossible decision between paying for his care and keeping her business open. Through our sliding fee scale and compassionate care, her son received the treatment that he needed, and Carla became a patient herself. That intervention didn't just restore health, it preserved a local job creator. Today, Carla's bakery is thriving, and her son is back at work. So this impact that your capital investment make will help Columbus to continue to grow. We cannot afford to leave behind those who have always been on the margins, our seniors, the working poor, and the small business owners who lack access to affordable health care. When workers are unhealthy, businesses suffer. When families delay care, the costs, financial and human burden grow exponentially. With this capital support, Lower Lights Health will expand our ability to serve more people, shorten wait lists, and bring high-quality and cultural competent care closer to where people live and work. We are not just improving health, we are creating economic resilience, workforce stability, and hope. This is why your investment matters. Our current facilities at Cooper Road, this is an expansion of the Cooper Road facility in Northland, are strained beyond capacity. The demand is great and the need is urgent. Capital support will allow us to expand access to this underserved neighborhood, provide affordable pharmacy services in a pharmacy desert, reduce health-related job loss, and uplift entrepreneurs who are the backbone of our local economy, especially in communities that have historically been marginalized, yet have the fastest growth in contributing to our small business economy and low-income areas. Healthy people build healthy businesses, and healthy businesses build strong cities. Lower Lights continues to be in sound financial standing. With your partnership, Lower Lights Health will continue to meet people where they are, providing whole person care that fuels both personal stability and community growth. Just briefly, we started in 2002 in the Franklinton neighborhood of Columbus, and we began seeing patients. And as the need for affordable access care grew, we became a federally qualified health center in 2009. Over the years, we've expanded our services and our team to meet the growing needs of Central Ohio. These are our 7 locations. As you see, we have 5 in Central Ohio. What this service will provide, so this area in Northland, this particular one, currently on Cooper Road, we saw last year 2,100 patients. This expansion from a 1,200 square foot facility to 8,000 square foot in the Molina building on Corporate Exchange on the 5th floor. We will be able to go from 2 providers to 7 providers. We are working with Compton Construction on this project. And we will move from 2,100 to over 7,800 patients that we will be able to see. 19% during our feasibility study of residents that are in that area have accessed community health center. Majority of them go to the emergency room when they have health issues. And this area is also on the bus route. These services that you see, currently we just do primary care, and we were the #1 facility that did new immigrant health screenings. Because of obvious reasons with the federal government, we've had to cut back that program extensively. We are currently not doing it, but we will move from primary care to also be able to do OBGYN, pharmacy, behavioral health, nutritional services, dental, optical, and then also our behavioral health. Why this matters: for every $1 invested in Lower Lights Health, it is $2.13 of social and economic value returned to the community. Addressing the health equity gap, again, kind of as I spoke, we have a lot that are underinsured, uninsured, and those that are seeking private insurance. The growth around the Northland area, there are several apartments, and so even people who have a local place where they can walk. I don't know about a lot of people here, but seeing the care of the people at Lower Lights, I switched my primary care to Lower Lights for 2 reasons. One, I'm of that age that I like to call, I have Sometimers, not quite Alzheimer's, so I don't like to have to remember where to go get my glasses, where to get my teeth cleaned, and where to see my doctor. I can go to one location. So we continue to fight the disparity of social determinants of health. We provide chronic screenings, chronic disease management, and integrated services to get ahead of the illness. Our growth is driven by our need. Again, sharing some of the numbers as I mentioned earlier. We also, in our women's health, what is also particular about Lower Lights Health is that we are a program that has our medical professionals, OB professionals, doula services, and in-home services, all for mom, up until the baby is 1. And then we have more than 80% of those mothers who continue with their primary care. The challenges, again, as I mentioned, the high need, and with recent federal things that are happening, that is why we continue to build our capital campaign. Our impact, again, as I shared, our community cannot thrive without healthy residents. So Lower Lights Health is more than a clinic, it's a lifeline for some of our underserved neighborhoods. Again, a lot of our funding that we receive right now is through federal HRSA funding. This capital campaign currently for our facility, we did our feasibility in 2024. We have started since February. We're looking to raise $3 million. Of that $3 million, currently we are at 988. We have an additional 4 folks that came in just last month and want to match what we're hoping to get from City Council with those 4 folks committing to over $100,000 each. So our services, again, why we're expanding, and I'm open for any questions.
Thank you, Kay, and the work that Lower Lights does. In my time in Franklinton, actually got my COVID booster shot over at Lower Lights, so they are my health provider in some ways too. Any questions from my colleagues?
Mine's gonna be short. Just reviewing the presentation again, these use of funds is for the Northland building only?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
I think, like I've said, when I think about healthcare and accessibility to healthcare in our communities and ensuring, the easier that we make it for people, then hopefully the easier they will use it, right? And ensuring that they get the same quality of healthcare no matter where they go, is also important. And so when I look at that map and I think about the communities that you're in and the folks who you're serving in, even if the immigrant program was, the intentionality about reaching out might have been suspended, I know they're still showing up. And so, and I know you're still serving them. And so I think that, again, when I think about access in our communities and when I think about the investment that we're making, ensuring that, you know, when we talk about Link Us and bringing different resources, I mean, many people grew up where you had your healthcare provider, where you grocery shopped, where you school shopped, everything in a neighborhood. And now, because of where, you know, what kind of health insurance you might have to go way up north or way down south, or depending upon where, or even to one of the suburbs, right? So ensuring that we continue to have accessibility in our communities and ensuring that we have top quality providers that make it easier for folks to access the things that they need. And I love the example that you gave, that how great would it be for everyone to have a one-stop shop, right, where they can find everything. And this is just one of our cities, like, I think, not best kept secrets, but one of the secrets, folks just don't know about it, right? And so the more that we invest and the more opportunities that you have to reach out to ensure that folks are taking advantage. So again, I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for the work that you do and encourage folks that if you have not heard about Lower Lights and where they are and the opportunities that they're offering to our community, I encourage folks, especially if you're watching, to learn more. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
That concludes our presentation. So again, thank you for all of our partners. Due to a scheduling conflict, the Ohio History Connection was unable to attend this afternoon's hearing to present on their project, the Poindexter Village African American Museum. They did, however, submit written testimony regarding the project, which has been shared with the clerk's office and also all of our council offices. Just really quickly to sum it up, the city made a $3 million commitment to that particular project. So this year's capital budget is reflective of $1.5 million to support the construction of a museum that celebrates and showcases the history behind Poindexter Village, one of the nation's first public housing projects dedicated by President Franklin D. Roosevelt on October 12, 1940, and named after one of Columbus's greatest leaders, Reverend James Poindexter, the first African-American council member to serve on council. The overall project for that is estimated to be $23.81 million, and they are currently in the middle of their capital campaign. I just want to also touch on this particular project. Really exciting when we talk about preserving our history. This won't be simply about Poindexter, but about the overall African-American history in our community. And also a little tidbit is that they are in partnership with Union Grove. So we're also going to be able to talk about the church, the history of the Black church in Columbus there. So really excited about that project. The actual one of the buildings that's being saved is where my grandmother lived in Poindexter Village. And so I'm really excited to see that project come to fruition. A lot of work has gone into it and a lot of progress has been made. Councilmember Baby, I don't know if you had any remarks on that. That is your district and
Yes,
you are very proud of
certainly,
that project.
Yes, certainly particularly proud of that project. Again, my family came to that area in 1937, and my ancestors were there when it was dedicated. And I've been glad to see with the overall investment for, most importantly, the individual homes for individuals, but to preserve the history of what it was and the importance is very, very meaningful to so many of us. And it'll be a good landmark for next generations to come to and visit and look at.
Yeah, thank you. So we'll move on to resident testimony. And again, if there are partners here that have to go, definitely understand if you guys have to head out. By today's 9 a.m. deadline, our offices have received one speaker request and also one written testimony. First to speak, we have Mr. Nate Wilkins. And Mr. Wilkins is with us. And then we will also make sure that if there's any other residents here that wish to speak, we'll allow them to speak as well. Mr. Wilkins, come on up. I think you know the routine. You have 3 minutes. Good to see you again.
1612 Arlington Avenue, Mr. Nathaniel George Wilkins. I'm just very pleased about the St. Stephen Community House. I just want to say a few things. I was really kind of surprised at the slides. I would to recommend, a lot of time we're living out the motto disability and visually impaired. The slides that y'all showed up there a while back, it doesn't give no indication for the Braille copies or different floor textures for the disability and blind. Also, to talk about the front of the building, there's not automatically doors for people that's in wheelchairs or multi-handicap. I also want to talk about the Buckeye Boys Ranch. I know that has been around for a very long time, but I think that needs to be analyzed with more money. The other slide that you showed with the warehouse on Nelson Road, I don't know how long they've been in business, but that needs to be upgraded, more accessibility on the bus line with visually impaired populations, people that's elderly population and things. I don't hear too much about the elderly or the disability population. Those people do reside in our central communities. What I want to piggyback on the St. Stephen Community House, there was a church on Cleveland Avenue. Look back there, and I was very pleased. There ought to be a second location. You have people that's staying on Cleveland Avenue, can't get there by a bus because they have to walk off of 17 to get there. Like I said again, we have to do more. We have to do more for the visually impaired population and also the transportation. I do realize Lower Lights. I know I want to say thank you to that person that's located on the bus line, but I think it needs to be more facilities like that agency. You know, I want to say thank you for helping that young mother in that business. You don't see too much of that in the inner cities, less these companies are farther out on the bus line. So if we can bring Lower Lights into the inner city, like in Linden, South Linden, where people can have more access to get to those businesses where they don't have to travel by car or plane or bus or whatever. And also to bring in more resources into the community. Seems like there's not enough of that, where people have to get out of their house to get cars and taxis and whatever. So again, I do thank you for your time.
Thank you for that, Mr. Wilkins, and for your continued advocacy, particularly for our disabled community. I'm just looking at Madison, the new entry doors are going to have, or will they have handicap accessibility? You could just shake your head. I can see. Yes. So she said yes to that, Mr. Wilkins. And then I think there was a comment around the Braille and the signage, and will that be there? Madison, if you can get with Mr. Wilkins just to make sure to answer those questions. And then, Mr. Wilkins, I did just look up very quickly. I know that Kay had to leave. Lower Lights does, in fact, have a location in South Linden on Cleveland Avenue. So that address is 2028 Cleveland Avenue. So we will have Kay also follow up with you just to make sure you get you any information. But you're absolutely right. We want to make sure that all of these things are accessible to all of our residents, whether you are in a wheelchair, on two legs, or however you get around, you should be able to access our city. So thank you for your continued advocacy. We did receive written testimony from Mr. Dominic Mazzone. This testimony will be filed with the city clerk and shared with all of our council offices. Before I move on, are there any other residents or any of our folks that wanted to provide testimony or had any additional questions for our partners before I move on? All right. Seeing none, we will continue with the rest of the hearing. I am really excited and want to thank my colleagues for all of their work that we did behind the scenes. When we got the proposed budget from the mayor's office, it's just that, a proposed budget. Council always wants to look and see to make sure that those budgets reflect our priorities as a community. And so really proud of the amendments that we will be advancing on this Monday for the capital improvements budget. Those amendments are as follows. $450,000 to support the design of Freedom Park and Joanne Park located in the Westland and Northeast areas of the city respectively. Both of these parks currently lack the infrastructure necessary to maximize their use by residents in the area. Following the design, Columbus Recreation and Parks will dedicate dollars in the 2026 and/or 2027 capital improvements budget to complete the construction of those two parks. An additional $175,000 to support the design of and renovation and restoration plan for Schiller Park Pond, which has experienced severe erosion on both the center island and outer banks. That is one of our most utilized parks, and so this will help to design the restoration of that particular pond.
What was that amount again? I'm sorry.
$175,000. Yes. And again, that's just for the design of that particular pond renovation. $100,000 for our Columbus Division of Police to purchase a new horse trailer for our horse unit. The current one is extremely outdated and wanted to make sure that we upgrade that as well. $146,000 to the One Divine Line to Health to support the construction of a long-term recovery duplex for pregnant women off of Oakley Avenue. They're doing great work up on the hilltop, and so this is to expand the continued work that they have been able to do. Additionally, $250,000 for the design of sidewalks along Billingsley Road between Sherrington Drive and Dunsworth Drive. Billingsley Road, located in the northwest quadrant of the city, connects Smoky Row Road to Sawmill Road, two major arterial roads in the area. Portions of Billingsley Road currently have sidewalks, but this stretch has been left without it for quite some time, despite repeat requests from residents there. So the design of this stretch of sidewalk brings us one step closer to improving the walkability of this area for residents, and so we look forward to engaging with them. Additionally, $1 million to Star House for their continued expansion of their services in both the Milo Grogan area and south side of Columbus, and an additional $600,000 in addition to what was already proposed by the mayor's proposed budget for Lower Lights Health Center for the Northland Center expansion. This will bring their total appropriation in the capital budget to $1 million. And last but not least, I'm really proud to announce that we will be also amending the CIP, that is the city's capital improvements program. This is our 5-year plan. We will be amending that to $9 million in the 2026 funded projects for the first ever participatory budgeting initiative. Participatory budgeting is a democratic process where community members directly give input on how to spend a portion of the city's budget. PB, for short, was started in Porto Alegre, Brazil in 1989, which was a great year. That's when I was born, as an anti-poverty measure. Since then, PB has spread to hundreds of cities around the world and has been used to decide budgets from states, counties, cities, housing authorities, schools, and other institutions. Participatory budgeting deepens democracy. It builds stronger communities and creates a more equitable distribution of public resources. Several cities in the United States, such as New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, Cambridge, and Boston, have adopted and implemented participatory budgeting processes to increase the civic and budget engagement of its residents. I'm really excited about this work. My team, and I want to thank JP Dorval as well as our Legislative Research Office, have put a lot of work into to pull this together. And really what we are imagining is, one, that this will be a catalyst, but also a pilot. The $9 million that we are looking to earmark would be $9 million for our 9 different districts. This would be a way for us to engage our residents in those different districts around projects that we hear all the time. When we come around to this time of year for our capital budget, we continuously hear about these projects from residents. And so we wanted to think about, how do we carve out some dollars for those smaller projects, those pocket parks, those sidewalks, those street lights, or what have you, for our residents, but then also create a process by which they are coming to the table and they are voting on what these projects are in the districts themselves and to get that done. So I'm really excited about it. It's the first time that we have done this. So I will say to residents, we are going to do a full announcement and roll this out and discuss with folks. But I'll also say that this is the first time that we're doing it. So it is going to be probably a little bumpy, but I am excited about it, and it's a way for us to continue to engage with residents. So stay tuned on that, and we look forward to announcing that at a later date. In conclusion, are there any additional comments from my colleagues?
I just wanted to say a point of gratitude, Chair Bankston, for leading this process, to you, to your staff. Also, I want to thank all of our community partners that came in. I think, we have so many organizations doing really amazing work in our community, and I think, we are charged with a very difficult task of being stewards of taxpayer dollars, and I think sometimes people forget that includes us, right? And thinking about the organizations and how, even in a tough budget year, how do we make the right investments in the organizations that are going to have the biggest impact? And so, especially around capital budget time, it isn't always it is the HVAC systems, it is the roofs, it is the, if you are a homeowner, it's those things that we sometimes begrudgingly roll our eyes at and wish we weren't a homeowner, right? But those are our assets. And so I think we talk a lot about our infrastructure, both from both by the things that we have, but, Councilmember Green often talks about our infrastructure of people. The capital budget is just one slice of the budget, of the greater budget that we have as a city, right? And so this is investments that we are making in key organizations this go around. I'm excited about participatory budgeting. I'm excited about giving our residents more voice and having them be able to come to the table to be true partners with us and how we think about we allocate the dollars that we all invest in the city that we love. And so I always have I always talk about the capital budget as, again, this is just one of many strategies in which we can get things done in the city, in which we can get more of the things that we want in our neighborhoods, in our communities, that really uplifts everyone and gives opportunity for all. So again, a thank you to Councilmember Bankston, Chair Bankston, for your work, and excited to get ready to partner with our city in this, what will be might be a bumpy process, but one that I think will have a lot of good learnings for all of us. So thanks again.
Thank you.
Yes, and I just wanted to quickly say, I belong to an organization, the Urban Land Institute, and I'm involved in the real estate field. And we were talking a little bit about sometimes these roofs and air conditions and everything in buildings are boring. But one saying that we have in the Urban Land Institute is that buildings are the places that humanity lives and thrives. And so the spirit of what we're doing by making these investments in these buildings just advances humanity.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Councilmember. I couldn't find a better way to close us out today. So again, thank you to all of our department directors, the mayor and his team, also to my team as well. Also, again, I want to thank my council colleagues. We were operating in a very short window to try to get this, keep this budget, capital budget on the timeline that we've traditionally done it, which is before our August recess. So I want to thank them for leaning into this really truncated process and also leaning into the process moving forward as we can continue to engage residents. This Monday, council will amend and consider this year's capital improvements budget as well as the capital improvements program. So please feel free to continue to reach out to my office if you have any questions in the meantime. And with that, have a good evening, everyone, and a great weekend.